Liadrin used to have faith in the light. That was before the Scourge invaded her homeland. That was before her loved ones sacrificed themselves so that she may live. That was before the Sunwell was corrupted. That was before 90% of the elves were slaughtered. Why have conviction in the light if it would not intervene in such a catastrophic event? After the Scourge invasion of Quel'Thalas, Liadrin abandoned the light and took up arms, isolating herself in the corrupted devastation of her homeland and enacting vengeance by killing as many Scourge as possible.
For thousands of years, the Sunwell meant everything to our people. Arthas dealt us a grievous wound when he defiled it. My faith was shattered when Silvermoon fell.
And eventually, that hunger for revenge would be noticed by the new leaders of Quel'Thalas.
Apologies.
Baladash, Malanore. I greet you on behalf of Silvermoon.
Pleasantries can wait.
Liadrin was invited to Silvermoon because the city's magisters had a radical, controversial idea to share with her. You see, since the Sunwell's corruption, the Blood Elves have been struggling with their magical addiction. Prince Kael'thas left to go to Outland to find a new source of power for them to feed from. One of the things he found was a Naru named Muru. These Naru are godlike beings made of holy energies, which the Blood Elves could rip the energy from to satiate their magical addiction. So Kael'thas sent Muru to Silvermoon to do just that. At least, that was its intended use. But Magister Astalor Bloodsworn and other Magisters found a way to successfully manipulate the energies of Muru to provide the Blood Elves with a forceful method to wield the light once more. With this new discovery, no longer would they find themselves in a situation where the light would refuse to aid them in their time of need. With this breakthrough, they were not worshippers of the light any longer. They were the masters of the light, and Liadrin was the perfect person to lead the Blood Elves in this new ethos. She had lived a life of extremes, once as a devoted priest and as a vengeful warrior. But with this opportunity before her, she could utilize both paths she took in life and help lead the Blood Elves from devastation.
This one burns rather brightly.
Empowered by the light once more, Matriarch Lady Liadrin and her new order of paladins called the Blood Knights fought alongside her with the same stolen holy energy.
Blood Knights, charge!
But Blood Knights weren't particularly popular in Blood Elf society.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Worshipping the light had been a cultural foundation for the elves, and this new order of paladins seemed quick to subjugate and torture the very thing they worshipped for thousands of years. Furthermore, robbing Muru of its power was not a pleasant experience. It delivered ear-splitting headaches, their minds filled with the harrowing screams of the Naru. This, coupled with the magical withdrawals many Blood Elves suffered, was enough to break some of their minds. That was the case for Liadrin's apprentice, Galel, who the matriarch had to put out of his misery after he was lost to insanity. This was the first time Lady Liadrin pondered if this whole enslavement of a benevolent force was really a good idea. Then she remembered the exclusively Horde Paladin ability, Seal of Blood, and just how awesome it is. And then she carried on with her day. Player character Blood Elf Paladins officially join the Order of the Blood Knights by level 20. At level 20, they can accept a quest to obtain the Blood-Tempered Ranzer, which is the Horde version of the Vergen's Fist Hammer Paladins can acquire in Classic. When Blood Elf Paladin players are level 60, they can do a quest to obtain their epic mount, called the True Masters of the Light, where Lady Liadrin says, "Ours is the true way of utilizing the light, to show others that would call themselves paladins the folly of their ways. I intend to send an unmistakable message. The Alonza's Chapel, where the Order of the Silver Hand was founded, seems immune to the destruction of Strathome. The chapel's eternal flame affords it the light's protection, but when you use this mixture to extinguish the flame, that protection will be no more. It will burn, and our dominion over the light will be proven to the world." So not only are the Blood Knights dominating the light, but they are actively trying to disrupt traditional light worship. Which, I'm gonna be honest, sounds incredibly out of character for the story of the Blood Elves. What makes Blood Elves so great in TBC is that they are people forced to do these morally dubious things to survive, like torturing a god in their basement so their broken, barely functional kingdom can defend itself. And while Blood Elves are a bit vain, actively seeking out and burning churches just to show how better they are is hilarious, but perhaps a bit extreme in the grand scheme of their story. I understand that Liadrin isn't a big fan of the light at this moment in time, but this act of blasphemy is never really brought up again in the lore. But anyways, in the Burning Crusade, Liadrin and her Blood Knights continue to feed off of Muru and then Wait, where'd it go? Well, you see, Prince Kael'thas at this point has fully betrayed his people and defected to the Legion. He arrived back in Quel'Thalas, stole Muru, and sucked out all of its power to reactivate Sunwell to summon his demon lord Kil'jaeden, and in turn, corrupted Muru into a void state. And suddenly, Liadrin and her Blood Knights aren't paladins anymore, and are now just boring warriors with a drug addiction. So Lady Liadrin traveled to Shatrath in Outland to find a new source of power. Liadrin knelt before the Naru Adal, apologizing for their treatment of Muru and how they were led astray by Prince Kael'thas. And Adal says, "Oh, no, it's fine. Muru knew it was gonna happen this whole time." And Liadrin's all like, "Wait, what?" "Yeah, it's a whole prophecy thing foretold by that guy over there." Prophet Velen, spiritual leader of the Draenei and wholly devoted priest, had the prophecy of Liadrin's fate given to him by the light itself, and it said, "Silvery moon washed in blood, led astray into the night, armed with sword of broken light, broken, then betrayed by one, standing there bestride the sun. At the darkest hour, redemption comes, in knightly lady sworn to blood." After realizing her subjugation of Muru was a part of the prophecy to her redemption, Lady Liadrin is quick to denounce her loyalties to Prince Kael'thas and fight in the name of the light once more. She then joins the Shattered Sun Offensive, a strike force of Blood Elves and Draenei formed to assault the Isle of Quel'Thanas and defeat the demon-worshipping invaders. And you know how this ends. Kael'thas is slain, players raid the Sunwell Plateau, Muru in its void state is defeated, and the Heart of Naru is then used to purify the Sunwell by Velen, and now the Font of Power is infused with arcane and holy energy. Now with this new source of light to feed from, the Blood Knights abandon their old ways of forcefully taking the light, and now just feed from the Sunwell directly. And like most lore in TBC, I think their story is wrapped up far too neatly, and now the Blood Knights are just normal paladins, but red, I guess? Well, I guess they still channel the light from the Sunwell and not from within, like normal paladins do, but still, Blood Knights in TBC, Their relationship with Muru and their method of wielding the light was one of the coolest things to happen in the Warcraft universe, and it's a shame we've never seen light wielders use this method since. In general, an issue with TBC's lore is that it's pretty short-sighted and not written assuming that I'd be talking about it, 19 years later. And after TBC, Liadrin is in the lore, she's doing things, but her personal story isn't really developed for the next 14 years. In Wrath of the Lich King, there's a long questline for the weapon Quel'Dalar. This is an ancient elven weapon that is purified in the Sunwell. At the end of this questline, players obtain the weapon, but in future expansions, Lady Liadrin is wielding it. And I'm sure that canon-wise she's the one to obtain it, since many legacy weapons that players can obtain are actually wielded by lore characters like Atiesh for Khadgar, or the Corrupted Ashbringer for Darien Mograine. In Warlords of Draenor, she led a Blood Knight force called the Sunsworn, and helped defend Auchindoun, and also had a quest where she, turns into a light torpedo and kills a pit lord. During the Legion invasion, she pledged the Blood Knights to the Knights of the Silver Hand, and thankfully everyone forgot they burned down the church where the Knights of the Silver Hand was founded. And probably her most important role in Legion is helping liberate the Nightborn from the demonic control in Suramar, and introduce the new race to joining the Horde. Because in many ways, the Nightborn and the Blood Elves are very similar. Both have dependencies on magic, and both had their leaders defect to the Legion.
First Arcanist Thalisra, and honored guests, welcome to Silvermoon. The Horde was proud to fight by your side against the Burning Legion, my lady. The Sindori also had a leader who struck a bargain with the Legion. The Sunwell was corrupted by our enemies, but a Naru's sacrifice purified its waters. Now, the essence of the light sustains us.
Then in Battle for Azeroth, Liadrin gets glowing golden eyes after long exposure to the new Sunwell. Then everyone on Azeroth suddenly gets really racist, and the Blood Knights break away from the Knights of the Silver Hand and fight the Alliance. And then during the very last patch of Shadowlands, there's a questline added only for Blood Elf players, which involves a Scourge resurgence taking place in the Ghostlands, led by a Sand Lane named Vorath. One of the recruits Lady Liadrin calls to address the situation in the Ghostlands is Salandria. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because Salandria was one of the orphans players looked after during the Children's Week holiday event back in the Burning Crusade. During the event, players take her to the Hall of Blood in Silvermoon City, and Liadrin suggests that Salandria should join the Blood Knights. You know, it's like a cool summer camp where they burn down churches for fun. And once players finish the Children's Week questline, they're given a letter in the mail by Salandria that says that she was adopted by Lady Liadrin. Lady Liadrin herself was adopted when she was a child, so it kind of makes sense that she's paying it forward with Salandria. But in the future of Warcraft's lore, there might be something interesting going on with Salandria, because during the Children's Week questline, players also take her to the home of the time-traveling bronze dragonflight, the Caverns of Time. When they approach, Draconid guards pull out their blades when they see Salandria. Then the dragon in the center of the cavern tells them to stop and says, "The girl has done nothing, and she will not be held accountable for what she might do or fail to do in the future." So at some point in Warcraft's future, we should anticipate that Salandria is going to cause some serious problems in one way or another. But anyways, back to Shadowlands. All of the Blood Elf leaders are discussing the Scourge Resurgence, which threatens Tranquillian, an outpost in the Ghostlands.
These reports are alarming, Lady Liadrin. Tranquillian is in danger of being overrun by Scourge?
Their forces appear far too organized for this to be some random attack. Perhaps we should request additional aid from our Horde allies.
And waste more time awaiting their arrival? No. We must address this at once.
Then we must call up those still in training. We will hold the line and keep Quel'Thalas safe. I swear it.
Very well. I will open the way and meet you in Tranquillian.
Lady Liadrin, are you sure about bringing up trainees to fight? This is no mere training exercise.
I am. You will find their skills are more than adequate, but I shall let their performance prove it. They are ready.
I look forward to good news then. May the Eternal Sun guide you, Liadrin.
Finally! It feels as if I've been in training for ages. Send me to Tranquillian!
Salandria, this will be no easy task. More will be expected of you than any other.
Then I should prove myself, right? You said it yourself. We'll hold the line and keep Quel'Thalas safe. I intend to do just that.
Then Salandria and Liadrin go to Tranquillian. Sorry. Salandria and Liadrin go to Tranquillian and defeat the Scourge and the evil vampire. The mother and daughter duo then have a very brief appearance in The War Within, and of course they're going to be featured in the next expansion, Midnight. And the Midnight cinematic does an excellent job at distilling Lady Liadrin's story and the Blood Elves' complicated relationship with the light. In the first half of the cinematic, Liadrin is filled with doubt, questioning her own worthiness for the light to answer her prayers. That guilt was likely rooted in the desperate choices the Blood Elves were forced to make to survive, especially what they did to Muru. But despite their sins, the light is able to realize that her people are filled with good intentions and are worthy of its embrace. And in that moment, Liadrin's faith is rewarded, and her prayers are answered, and the Sunwell summons an army of paladins to stand against the void. Which, yeah, that's great and all, but we'll have to see if the light alone is enough to stop whatever Xal'atath's master plan is. Lady Liadrin is a character that I think foundationally has some fascinating lore. Her progression from a priest to a spiteful apostate to vengefully reclaiming the light and eventually regaining her faith after coming to terms with the light's benevolence is such an interesting character arc that isn't fully explored with nearly as much depth as I think it could be. And hopefully that's done in Midnight, but more likely it would be a nuanced topic that could be addressed in something like a short story. But regardless, I'm interested in what matriarch Lady Liadrin, her Blood Knights, and her Genshin Impact-sounding adopted daughter Salandria get up to in Midnight. And that isn't a joke, her voice actress literally is a character in Genshin Impact, which honestly I'm not that surprised about. Interested in more Lady Liadrin lore? Well, I narrated an excerpt from the official short story, Blood of the Highborn, that includes Liadrin's point of view of the horrific Scourge invasion of Quel'Thalas. It's one of many Warcraft audio dramas filled with sound effects and music that you can listen to right now by becoming a channel member here on YouTube or join my Patreon. Your direct support helps large-scale videos like this be possible, so thank you, and thanks for watching.